Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Have a really interesting topic that I want to talk to you about. It is not anything that I have not discussed on this channel, and it's not anything that I have not talked about since 2016. But to actually see it happening in real time, where I can actually show it to you is a little disheartening. But I've been talking about these things, how laws are being repealed and acts are being replaced, and people are ignoring stuff. Doesn't matter which political party, doesn't matter what ethnicity or race you want to talk about. Everybody on earth is anti-black. I won't say everybody. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Most nations on earth and most of the people on the globe hate us. And if they didn't, it wouldn't be so easy for them to roll back stuff. And it wouldn't be so hard to get stuff passed to protect us, being that we're hated so. So, we really, really, really need to be connecting with the Most High because there is no way we're going to be able to get out of this, you know, domestic violence relationship with these people on this earth without a supernatural divine intervention from the Most High. So, this article I got today from the American Prospect, it was published today. It says the return of whites only signs. And it's a question mark. So it says a ruling in Illinois where all this stuff is going on um, concerning us from a Democratic approved judge would invalidate the Equal Credit Opportunity Act in actions taken before the application stage. So this says you might think that the last thing any business owner in America would be legally able to post outside their storefront on their website would be a whites only sign, warning other races or ethnicities from seeking their goods and services. But an obscure ruling against the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, in federal court, not state court, in federal court, meaning if this is appealed and it gets up to the Supreme Court and they decide to set it out or they decide to rule on it and continue the process of this, same ruling, it's the law of the land. So you need to be ready, which is why I keep telling everybody I can talk to, you better be trying to grow your own food. You better be trying to figure your own way. You better be trying to think primitive living because Esau and them ain't playing with us. And I keep trying to tell folks, and they keep trying to ignore me, acting like we got all the time in the world. Things are happening so fast and on time. Everybody's in cahoots. All the Confederacy is working against us in tandem. So I need y'all to really step it up. Not only your prayers, but your prepping, because we going back to Jim Crow, whether you want to or not, whether you believe it or not. The powers that be are rolling things back so that we're going back to Jim Crow, black codes. And this article, this is a bellwether. If they can get away with it, other places will do it too. You're going to start seeing a whole tide turn. Everybody going to become anti-black and don't want to be bothered with us, which is bad for us because we rely on everybody to provide for us because we have been taught that it's better to get along than to be independent and have people mad at us because we're protecting ourselves and engaging in protectionism, activities that every other group is allowed to do except for us. So it says, but an obscure ruling against the CFPB in federal court, if upheld, would effectively legalize this conduct for many lenders, including the majority of the entities that issue mortgages. So if mortgages can do it, that means banks can do it. That means everybody's going to be on it. Anybody who has a business will be able to use this. Um, so it says the ruling from the U.S. District Court Judge Franklin Valderrama sounds like, nah, I ain't gonna say nothing, goes against nearly 50 years of regulatory practice on the Equal Opportunity Act of 1974, ECOA. His decision states that ECOA regulates conduct only after a would-be borrower turns in an application and does not cover conduct that discourages applicants before the stage. So people can be racist to you until you turn in your application. If you were fortunate enough to not be discouraged and get it in, then you're covered. But it don't cover no troubles that you have to go through until you get it submitted. So again, here's just another um, demonstration of how Babylon does not care about Black people. And all these things came about for us. It was in 1974, right after the Civil Rights Act, put in place for us, because who couldn't get mortgages? Us. Who couldn't live where they wanted to live? Us. Who was and still is being discriminated against? Us. So, anywho, I tell you what. Uh, it says CFPB appealed this ruling, which was issued in June, and a hearing at the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals is expected this fall. If this ruling is upheld, a host of practices would be out of reach of ECOA enforcement, including ones well below the radar of whites only signs, of a whites only sign. In particular, lenders could exclude women, African American or Hispanic people, and other protected groups from targeted online marketing efforts, a sophisticated form of digital redlining that has recently come into fashion. That's why it is very important for you to not be loving nothing in Babylon, because Babylon is going to always hate us. Always, always. They have a perpetual hatred for us. So it is not in our best interest to align ourselves with any other group that has protections or that can be white and whatever else they are, because we're the only group that can't do that. We can't hide and be like, oh, we're white Hispanic. We can't do that. We can't be a Native American and white. We can't do that. Or we don't have a special designation like Native Americans or Alaskan natives. Um, we can't come here from Europe and say we're something Irish American but still be white and covered. We can't do that. We can't come from Syria with, blue eyes and pale skin and whatever kind of look they have when they allow certain groups of people to come here. We can't get away with any of that. And so when we align ourselves with other people, we don't realize that these people use our labor to advance themselves, and we always end up getting the short end of the stick. So no matter who gets discriminated against, we are discriminated against the most. But they will continue to act like we're not, and we continue to help everybody else feel like, we are saviors when we can't even save ourselves. All right, so it says the case came not out of conservative and business interests favorite corners of the judiciary, though it did come from a federal district judge whom Donald Trump appointed and who was confirmed just 6 weeks before the 2020 presidential election. That fails to explain who Valderrama is, however. I can bet you any amount of money it is from Latino gang. Sound like it. Anywho, I may be wrong, but They don't love us. They looking at everything. They can be white. They can just say, I am Hispanic, I am white. And they don't have to use that. Nobody will ever know unless they look at their last name. And you can't go by people's last names, you know, nowadays. But, if they check the box white and they're Hispanic, it's a 50-50 shot. They could be discriminated against or they could be allowed to pass. That's a privilege we don't have. And if they decided to do a face-to-face meeting or a phone call to screen, um, there's a huge possibility that they could pass, but we're not. So it says that fails to explain who Valderrama is, however. When 4 federal judge slots came up in Illinois in 2020, a package deal was announced where Republicans would select 3 judges and Democrats 1. Valderrama, a Cook County judge for over a decade, was the Democratic choice, and at the time, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois praised him as an outstanding addition to the federal bench. Yet Valderrama may now be responsible for legalizing a pernicious form of discrimination in credit markets. Durbin is now the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, where through the deference to the blue slip process, he has allowed Republican senators to block Biden nominated judges from those senators' home states. Liberals have been lamenting the right-wing tilt of U.S. courts for decades, but the fact that the choice that Durbin and his Illinois colleagues made in 2020 is now leading his attack on consumer protection regulations suggests that the quality of some judges that Democrats select could be part of the problem. Oh, they all the same. Everybody work for Mr. Charlie. This Mr. Charlie system, and Mr. Charlie is going to pick the people who is going to best serve his interest. So they know what they're doing. Sometimes, it's a problem for them, but most times it hasn't been. So it's just it doesn't even matter, in my opinion. So it says the case is pretty straightforward. A Chicago-based non-bank mortgage lender named Townstone has for several years run a radio program podcast called the Townstone Financial Show, which served as an infomercial for the business, and which, according to the lawsuit, generated 90% of its applications. Going back to 2014, the show has included repeated comments by its hosts, who are senior loan officers with Townstone, that African American communities in Chicago are scary places to visit, quotation marks, a real war zone, and havens for hoodlums. Unsurprisingly, now none of Townstone's marketing was directed at African American communities, and almost none of Townstone's mortgage applications were from Black borrowers, and almost none of its approvals went to Black borrowers or were in majority Black areas. CFPB filed a suit against Townstone in July 2020 when the agency was still run by Trump's handpicked director, Kathy Kraninger. The agency argued that racist comments discouraged African American borrowers from using Townstone and discouraged applicants from applying for loans in areas the host disparaged. The CFB said Judge Valderrama dismissed the case on the basis that ECOA cannot regulate pre-application conduct. So you can be racist and discourage people, and that's not really their concern. They only care after you made it through the hurdles in the hell. He cited the language of the law, which states, it shall be unlawful for any creditor to discriminate against any applicant with respect to any aspect of a credit transaction, on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, or marital status, or age. A more insidious form of discouragement has developed where creditors are only made, where credit offers, are only made to specific populations and protected classes are excluded. The implementing regulation to ECOA, adopted in 1975 and known as Regulation B, explicitly states that prospective applicants cannot be discouraged from credit products on discriminatory basis. But Valderrama said that Congress was unambiguous in saying that only applicants were covered under ECOA, noting that applicant was used 26 times in the statute. Therefore, because ECOA says nothing about prospective applicants, Valderrama writes the statutory language in the present tense includes the future tense, therefore making it reasonable that applicants could also include prospective applicants. This just sounds like a big old circle jerk. And what English people do, like they just make up stuff as they go. That's just what they do. But in any event, do you see also how they make sure they make the laws obscure or vague? They never ever really address us in particular. So that's why it's so easy to always roll stuff back, and say, oh, we didn't know who they were talking about. Oh, they're not being harmed anymore. Just always the same old routine. So this says the ruling essentially throws out the 1970s era language of Regulation B. And y'all know if it was done in the 1970s, it was our ancestors out there fighting for it after the Civil Rights Act, which was promulgated by the Federal Reserve, no, not exactly the most aggressive consumer protection entity. There is a framing in the defendant's brief as if this is some new wild interpretation taken by the CFPB, which is not true, says Stephen Hayes, a former CFPB lawyer who authored an amicus brief in the case. Hayes also noted that anti-discrimination statutes are read in the exact same way, with pre-application discouragement seen as a violation of the law, even if the statute refers to applicants. The idea that the text has to be read in an extremely cabined way is not consistent with the way courts have read it. So basically, they're interpreting a new way, or this judge has set a new standard or new precedence for how these various acts that protect certain protected groups are interpreted. So it's just going to be bad for us. And that's why I just keep telling you, you might as well get ready. I would not be surprised, honey, next year you can't go to the store if you're Black. So if you are a business person and you are doing business in Babylon, in your Yashar'el, you really should be trying to figure out how you're going to cater to your own people, because everybody else going to have some place to go except for us. And that is the plan. Nobody wants to do nothing for us. They want to steal from us, but they don't want to help us do anything. They want to use our labor, our name, our likeness, our images, but they don't want us to really benefit from anything. They'd be happy if we just perish. So get ready, y'all. In the ruling, Judge Valderrama Rama failed to mention that Congress amended the ECOA statute in 1991, explicitly stating the agency should refer to the Attorney General any pattern or practice of discouraging or denying applications for credit. By definition, that would happen before the application stage. In addition, Congress gave regulators the express authority to ECOA to prevent circumvention or evasion from it. Discouraging women or Black people from applying for credit is certainly a way to evade the anti discrimination law if it were based on applicants alone. And so that is another issue. You know, when you listen to the radio and you hear all these scammy commercials, you know, we get trash commercials. They want you to apply for loans to secret people you don't know. And, you know, every now and then when the economy is getting ready to collapse, you'll start these mortgage companies promote these loans or these packages for our people. And you know, you don't have to hardly do nothing. Just bring your little old trifling raggedy cell phone and we'll give you something for nothing. Bad car loans, like everything that's bad is on our channels. And so, you know, I've gotten to the point I listen for the hoodwink, but I don't listen for consumption. I'm trying not to be a consumer, but when you listen to the radio for an extended period of time, you just see this pattern of we're always targeted for bad stuff. Um, Now I don't know anything about this mortgage company, but it's not the only one. And the other thing is that the government brought this suit. Black people wasn't doing it. Um, you know, why not? We have Black attorneys, we have a Black legal community, but they don't ever think to do stuff like this. And when they do, like, they don't do class action, they don't do national stuff. They don't get together and be like, hey, we're gonna put our brains together and do some pro bono stuff. Like, they just, I don't know. Our people are just, whew, a lot. If the ruling were to stand, lenders could blatantly announce that they will not serve Black, Hispanic, female, married, or LGBT borrowers. That they go throwing everybody in a sink when this stuff was just for us. Or borrowers on public assistance and face no sanctions from ECOA. They could usher anyone with these characteristics out of their storefronts the moment they walked into the store. They could give a two-page application to prospective borrowers without these characteristics and a 200-page application to those with them. The mortgage lending where the home ownership gap by race is at its highest point since the 1890s. The Fair Housing Act more explicitly bars pre-application discrimination. However, while prudential regulators supervise banks for FHA compliance, the CFPB is the only federal supervisor of non-bank mortgage lenders, and its examiners cannot use the FHA in looking at discrimination. As Hayes's amicus brief written on behalf of the National Fair Housing Alliance and several other organizations states, this would give non-bank lenders, which account for over 2/3 of mortgage lending, a free pass on pre-application discouragement. Even though the smallest community banks on up to the largest ones would be held to a higher standard, the non-banks, if this ruling were upheld, the Mortgage Bankers Association filed an amicus brief supporting Townstone in the case. Of course they did. The NBA did not return requests for comment. Other consumer loans besides mortgages are governed by ECOA, including auto loans, small business loans, and personal loans. Under Valderrana's ruling, pre-application discouragement would be made effectively legal in many of those cases. This kind of conduct is already pervasive as the discouragement of women and minority-owned businesses from paycheck protection loans authorized under the CARES Act. In some cases, through overt statements that those businesses not apply. But now such practices won't even be a violation of ECOA if the ruling stands. The ruling gives would-be discriminators an effectively legal pathway to discriminate. So let that sink in, y'all. We going back to racism, Jim Crow, black codes. We going back to Jim Crow. Ooh, I see it coming. We are there, y'all. A more insidious form of discouragement has developed hand in hand with the rise of targeted advertising. This has created a new form of pre screening where credit offers are only made to specific populations and protected classes are excluded. The most notorious instance of this occurred on Facebook, where lenders and other companies targeted offers to specific ages, genders, and race. Facebook, whose parent company is Meta, settled a lawsuit over the conduct in 2019, but media outlets have continued to find businesses discriminating in their marketing using Facebook tools. Facebook is only one of the services used to target certain populations for marketing, which could create digital redlining. Well, we already know about that. I'm redlining right now. So are a lot of other Black content creators all across the internet. So it's nothing new. It's just a continuation of what Babylon has always done. So she's just gonna be foul till she falls. I mean, I don't, at this point, who cares? Because I mean, it is what it is. I guess it's a big deal because so many people are not prepared for the day when you go to the store and you can't go in because somebody white is there and they're like, you can't come in. Or the business just decides this is what we're going to do now. We don't want Black people in our businesses. We don't want to serve Black people because of whatever thing. And we're just going to not serve them. That could happen. What are you going to do? What happens if, in where you live, they tell you can't go to the grocery store? What happens if you need to do something, take out a loan, and they're like, no, we're not going to do it for you. Like, anybody can do this to you if this passes. Even your current mortgage lender. Well, they can't do it because your loan is approved. But say if you wanted to go refinance, they could say, we don't take applications from Negroes no more. Sorry. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What happens when the bank says, oh, we don't want to serve Black people, we don't give out loans to Black people? What happens if you want a car loan and you got good credit? They don't care if you got good credit. You can do everything right. They can just discriminate against you because you are Black. So again, if you think you're gonna stay here in Babylon and everything is gonna be okay, Babylon is continuously getting your heads together, gathering the children and letting her know y'all not gonna stay here and be in peace. Y'all think it's gonna be the way it was like 50 years ago? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. We going backwards. We going back pre-civil rights era. So I don't know what to tell you. It's very depressing, but not surprising. And so with that said, I'm done, really done with this article. I don't want to read anymore because it's just depressing. And, for me, I think about it in a bigger context, as in anybody can do this. You go to Home Depot, they could be like, we don't serve Black people. Because I don't know if y'all know the people races who own that place. Um, your local grocery store, your small garden hobby lobbies place, the your local coffee shop, like anybody, could challenge this and take it to the extreme. Once the door is open, it's open. And so, as I've been saying and urging to Black Americans, African Americans, ADOS, FBA, B1 folks, y'all better figure things out. You better be trying to get some vegetables growing on your land. You better be trying to figure out how you're going to get some water. You better get you a well kit just in case they don't want to give you no water. You better be trying to figure out how you are going to get what you need prior to this thing going to pass. If you plan on getting a loan for something, which I hope you're not, but if you were, I should hope that you go ahead and do that, and hope you're not discouraged and turn around in the process. I pray that you are stockpiling food in the event that the grocery store is like, hey, we don't serve black people no more. If you're going to come in, you got to come through the back door by the trash can. Uh, or you can only come at night after all the white people come and got all the good stuff. And then you're at the mercy of the people who are preparing the food. And we're just not set up for this rolling back to Jim Crow, y'all. I I don't know what to say. I'm just really discouraged right now. I mean, I know it's prophecy. I know it's supposed to happen. I know it's happening. But just to read about it and to see that all these opportunities to discriminate against us after we've been discriminated against for so long is insane to me. But this is a reality, and I want to share it because I want people to understand these things are happening all at one time. And once this law passes, it is the law of the land. This is going to federal court. So anybody can do this now. If the CFPB loses, it's a wrap. So again, start prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, and understand that we don't have no friends. So unyoke yourselves to people, get that equality and equity language out your mouth because it don't work for us. What you're going to find is what we've been seeing for the last 10, 12 years, 13 years. There has been a progressive, aggressive rolling back of protections or forward progress for African Americans. Everybody's progressing except for us. And so we have to see it for what it is. We have to see this nation for what it is. We have to see politics for what it is and move accordingly. You cannot trust this system. It does not have your best interest at heart. It has no interest in you at all. So I don't know why you have any interest in it. Black people need to be concerned about themselves because as time goes on and things begin to devolve, you're going to see people get into their corners. And people who have stuff, which is everybody except for us, they're going to be in their corners. Them folks going to be in their corners. The Arabs going to be in their corner. The Asians going to be in their corner. The Indians going to be in their corner. Hispanics going to be in their corner. Everybody going to be in their corners with stuff because they come into our communities and sell to us. Even if they don't sell to us, oftentimes we have to go to them because they have the monopoly on everything. They have the supply chains. We never build our own supply chains. We don't have a supply chain to and from the motherland. We just didn't. And so, add to that, they've taken so much from us. We don't have farmland. We have fewer farmers. We don't have land. We've been discriminated against in all sorts of ways. So it's very difficult to explain this to just the average person. But I keep saying it casually, and people kind of laugh at me. It's like the day is coming where y'all ain't gonna be able to go to the grocery store. The white people gonna say whites only. What y'all gonna do? Here we are, and I just cannot stress to people enough what's coming. This is coming, y'all. Get ready. Get ready. Get what you need for your house. Get extra stuff. If you got children, grandchildren, get your stuff. Because when they get ready to close the curtain and seal us out and exclude us as they're doing now and it becomes final, people are going to go insane. Do what you need to do for your household, because we can't afford to be locked out of anything, not during this time. But of course, that's when Babylon they love to kick you when you're down. So we can expect that. But anywho, I'm done with this story. I will put a link to it in the description. Please share it with other people, and try to impress upon them how serious this is. They talk about it in this article in the context of business, just like lending and finance, but it goes far beyond that. Any business, anybody who's white and is a business owner could immediately decide they don't want to deal with us anymore. And then what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's food for thought, something to think about, another thing to think about. It's a data point, but it's also a warning. It's a warning shot for us. So plan accordingly. Keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, keep repenting for your sins of commission and omission. I recommend, if you are FBA and ADOS, Black First, African American, whatever you want to call yourself, you need to be fasting and praying, and you need to be crying out, because all this stuff impacts every last one of us. And people can decide, I don't want to hire Black people. What you gonna do? What if they decide they're gonna get rid of all, like they used to do back in the old days? They're gonna hire white people. What you gonna do? Are you prepared to live off the land? You prepared to take care of yourself? Most people are not. Can you feed yourself? Most people cannot. Can you secure your own water? Do you have land? Most people do not. Can you live primitively until you're able to get on your feet and figure your way? Most people cannot. So these are things that we need to really be thinking about, family. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I just like to tell you the truth, straight, no chaser. I'm just direct like that. So don't take it as, oh my God, all she does is talk about bad stuff. I'm warning you about the things that are coming, because we are the least prepared people. We have the fewest resources in this country. We have the least amount of power. We don't own hardly anything. We don't have land. We live in food deserts. We don't grow anything. We don't make nothing. And this country in general doesn't make anything anymore. So we have to be proactive. Part of me sharing this with you is I see what could happen in 2 or 3 years from now. Although this could go into effect this year, and immediately the next day people could start putting signs up. So I mean, it could impact us this year in a couple of months. What you gonna do when Mr. Charlie be like, I don't want to serve Black people? I've been waiting for this day to keep them niggas out of here. I don't serve no niggas. What you gonna do? Because that's coming. What are you gonna do? What happens when you go to the gas station and the gas attendant is like, we don't serve your kind? They have a sign on the door, you can't go in there. We all gonna be standing outside looking like deer in headlights, looking stupid. What you gonna do? We don't own no gas stations. We don't own nothing. All the stuff we need, we got to depend on Mr. Charlie and his confederacy of traders to serve us. What are you going to do? Think about it. Plan for it. Share with other people. Try to wake them up and just be ready, because at any time, these things can come about and life will change for all of us in an instant. In 1 hour, like the Bible says, in 1 hour. In 1 hour. You can go to bed one day, wake up, and things are different. So keep prepping, y'all. Keep praying. Fast and pray. Cry out, because it's getting hot. I feel the noose tightening. I see it tightening, and I'm not afraid, but I'm concerned about my people because they don't see what I see. They're not preparing like I'm preparing. Physically, emotionally, mentally, they're just not. So do what you can, y'all. Just keep doing what you can, but understand that Babylon is going to do what she does best, retaliate and take all her anger and wrath out on us, even though we didn't do nothing. It's just that perpetual hatred is never going anyplace. So if you still sitting around hoping and thinking that they're going to change, they're never going to change. The three good white people that's out there, they just the three good white people. They ain't even having more good white people to, to uh, beat back all the bad ones. They just plentiful with hatred for us. Even little children don't like the little children, our children. So what you gonna do? Think about that. All right. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content and like this type of commentary. Hit that bell notification so that you will be notified every time I upload new content. Consider following me on Rumble and Odyssey in the event that this channel goes down, because I talk about all types of things that Mr. Charlie them don't like me to talk about. Also consider following me on Instagram and on Facebook. I do not post to those platforms regularly. This is my primary mode of communication because I'm tired of trying to get my content out and I'm stopped. So I just figure it's just not even worth it. And things are changing so much and so rapidly. I just don't want to invest any more energy into that. I feel like at this point, people who want to learn will search out, and people who don't, and the good people who share this content, I really do appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much, because my goal is to educate and teach our people about how this system works and what's coming and how those things impact us on a grassroots level every day. And when you share, even if it's one person, the Most High said, if you got 100 sheep and one get lost, he care about the one just like he cares about the 99. So I'm here for the one. If only one person come through and be like, I got some content, I'm content. Um, I know I'm not going to attract somebody every day, but the goal is to try to educate as many people as we can. And you can reach a whole bunch of people, but you may not be able to open the eyes of but one. That one is important. That one is special. Yah cares about every one of us. And so if, folks got their minds and eyes closed and, one person wakes up, then it's worth it for me. So continue prepping, continue praying. If you'd like to support the channel, you're not obligated to, but I don't have any sponsors because I don't like selling stuff. I don't like asking people to buy nothing. Just if you feel led to do so, link is in the description. If you have given, I am eternally grateful because I know you don't have to. People can do whatever they want to do with their money, but there are so many of us in the black media, new black media, not legacy Aryan media, new black media, who are sacrificing their livelihoods, their lives. We're using our time to do this work, to do research, to read and get understanding so that we can share and try to wake our people up. It is a challenge, but we are up for the challenge, those of us who do it. So anytime you can, support those people, because we all do it because we know it has to be done. Somebody got to sacrifice. And so we are the sacrificial lambs right now in this hour. So we appreciate you. I know I love my followers, even the spies, because I know I got a lot of spies, people who just be lurking, don't never say nothing, but they just lurk because they work for the alphabets. whatever. They everywhere. You're going to do this, you just got to know you're going to be spied on. So it is what it is. Get the word out, people, that we're going back to Jim Crow. This is the end of Reconstruction 2.0. And when it ends, it will not be another one because Babylon is falling. What you going to do to make sure you got a cushion to soften your fall and land well? All right, y'all, this is Marla K. Love y'all so much. And I'm out.